Debate.
Good morning and welcome to Let It Be Known.
I was sabotaged.
Oh, there you go. Come on in, Stacey. Take it
Goodness
away.
grief.
Take it
Oh
away.
my gosh. Good morning.
There
As
you
the world turns, these are the days of our lives.
go.
Nia, what's going on?
Well, I'm young and I'm restless.
There you
But we got a few headlines coming up for you this morning on today's episode of Let It Be Known. Family, we have news on church offerings. How about some hurricane updates? And of course, we're going to give you a dose of black joy.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. first, but first, what does our producer have for us this morning?
Learning that Texas is a majority minority state, 61% of our state is people of color. Somehow, with this new map that they drew in the state of Texas, they will have over 70% of the power to pick the representation that goes to DC. That is how bad this map is. I always bring facts, data, and statistics to back me up, also known as receipts. I applaud each and every person in California that even thinks about voting yes on Prop 50, because it is bigger than Texas. It is about making sure that our voices are not put on mute. This has everything to do with an administration that has decided that they want to decimate everything that those who came before us worked for. People right now are feeling helpless. Some are feeling hopeless. And this will inject a little bit of hope into people to believe that yes, the power still belongs to the people. This is our fight. That this is what's right. We are one. No matter what we do, we are
one. Yeah, Jasmine Crockett doing her thing. And can you imagine that she was criticized for talking about things outside of her district like Prop 50? Are you kidding me?
And well, it's definitely related to what she's going through in Texas. That was a breakfast that was held a couple weeks ago, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, hosted by Holly J. Mitchell, which is our LA County supervisor. And that was actually a room full of ministers. That was the Baptist Ministers Convention. A lot of familiar faces. And they were there to get the church motivated about being engaged in Prop 50. That's a huge motion that's happening here in LA and all across the state of California as we prepare for GOTV, which is Get Out the Vote, this coming up weekend.
Yeah, lots happening with that too, and lots going on in Virginia. We talked about that yesterday with Lauren Burke. So a lot going on all around the country, really. So we got to keep you posted on these things. Right now, though, a little bit outside the country, Hurricane Melissa is a monster. At least 7 hurricane-related deaths have already been reported across the Caribbean so far, with 3 each in Jamaica and Haiti, and 1 in the Dominican Republic. 3 people died and 13 were injured in Jamaica while cutting down trees in preparation for the storm, according to the Jamaican Minister of Health and Wellness. A further 3 were killed in a landslide in Haiti, in the northern area of the Dominican Republic. I keep saying Republican. Why do I keep saying Dominican Republican? Dominican Republic. 1 person died after being swept into a sewer while attempting to clear it. Well, this Category 5 storm is considered the most powerful of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season and the strongest in the island's recorded history. So they're expecting the winds to reach as much as 175 miles per hour.
I thought 215 yesterday. I've been keeping up what's happening actually on TikTok. I know last night I was watching people go live
Mhm.
About what was happening. The storm was hitting. I also saw a lot of tourists, responding to what was happening. And I saw this one TikToker from Louisiana who went through Hurricane Katrina, and she was telling tourists that were over there to be sensitive and stop complaining as you sit in a five-star resort, complaining as the people of Jamaica serve you, and they're probably worried about their families at home.
Mm.
So she kind of brought it all into perspective for the tourists over there, because there's all types of videos happening. You have the tourist
Wow.
perspective, and of course, the Jamaicans' perspective.
Well, the storm is also expected to hit Cuba and bring severe weather to the Bahamas, Turks
That's
and
why I hate
Caicos.
it. Haiti.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. It's as they say, it is a monster storm, and like you said, the latest that you heard was winds up to 215 miles per hour. So, folks,
Monster.
brace yourselves, and we know that there's many folks here who have family there and
Hmm.
loved ones there. So we want to keep them in our minds, in our hearts as well.
And we have to be, concerned too in case, that storm hits the United States. We know that FEMA
Yep.
has been gutted, and we also know that we're in a shutdown. So even the federal employees that service, disasters like this, they're not getting paid.
And of course, the National Weather Service has been decimated as well as part of this administration's, you know, craziness. Empress says that she is praying for her family and friends in Jamaica. So again, there's many here
Hmm.
uh, that have family there. So it's a troubling time, to say the least.
For sure.
Yes. Also, speaking of, we're going to stay overseas. We're going to go to the motherland in Ghana, where police there have rescued 57 Nigerians who were trafficked to the capital city there and forced to work in online romance scams. Five
Mm.
people were arrested during the raid, which exposed a large human trafficking and cybercrime operation. Police raided a building there after receiving a tip. Inside, they found the victims aged 18 to 26 who have been held against their will and made to manage fake online relationships used to defraud people abroad. Human trafficking and cyber fraud remain widespread across West Africa. And the Minister of Gender, Children, and Social Protection has reported 79 prosecutions and 54 convictions for trafficking related crimes between 2023 and 2024. And this latest operation, well, this is the operation, folks, that where they have folks call or post these profiles on these dating sites,
Hmm.
and they're fake, and they have been used to scheme or skim almost $3 million from 1,400 victims.
Well, are they victims really, or are they dummies?
Well, what also happens with that? So yeah, I mean, some of them I think they're a little of both, probably. But what has happened too, though, is that they have used explicit videos to blackmail the victims. They call it sextortion schemes as well.
That's what I'm saying, Those apps are, very tricky, especially, certain ones.
Hmm.
And I learned, the millennials teach me a lot. I forget that, about these different types of apps, and there are levels to these apps where there's some apps to where their apps are sex hookups, right?
Oh,
That's what they are. So if you go on them, you know what you're going for. And then you
right.
have ones like, I think Grinder is a mixture of both,
Mm.
right? And then you have Tinder. So there are levels to these apps. So that's what I mean when I say, dummies, because depending on what type of app it was, you knew what you were going there for. There's some apps to where you could just have virtual sex. So I'd be interested to see what type of app this was, because if
Mhm.
it's one of those type of apps, then that's what I mean by dummy folks.
Yeah. Well, and then that's not a discount too. I mean, in some cases they were some of these folks were forced to do that job.
Oh, I'm
They
not
were
talking
held
about
against their
them. I'm
will.
talking
Yeah.
about the
Oh, the ones that
participants. The
the participants.
participants.
Yeah. Mike V says coincidentally, it is Cyber Security Awareness Month. October is
Mhm.
cyber. Thanks for that reminder, Mike. That's true.
Yeah.
So these things have been happening, and so much so that we have Mike a cybersecurity awareness month.
Right, for sure, for sure. And so these app, and you're talking about, the children trafficking, you know what I'm saying? If they were
Hmm.
using minors, that's really problematic. I saw just coming back to the United States, the New York Times just released a report about they're calling it Blade, but we call it Strawberry Row here in California, on Figueroa. And just talking about how these young they call them YNs are now the new pimps for prostitution, and they have all these young girls. And so this human trafficking is rising even more, or it's happening more than what we know, and it's happening right here in our own backyard as well.
Mm, wow. So okay. So they still have pimps out there, huh? Pimps.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
with
yes,
the
they're
way things are.
everywhere.
Yeah, but the way things are, you think that I can't. You think you wouldn't see women on the street, on the corners and stuff like that anymore, but I guess you do, huh?
Let me tell you what I saw yesterday. That's why I was interested. I saw this story. You were in Ghana, but on my timeline on TikTok, I had the pimps and hoes popping up in my top line.
Oh,
And I say that as far as like hustle and flow, y'all. Okay.
right.
That's all I'm saying. But, so this New York Times report popped in and they were talking about Blade, which is here on Figueroa.
Right.
Then I had, I talk to people, I know all types of people. So they were telling me how the new pimps are these young men, like in their 16, 17, 18. So yesterday on my timeline, this young man was chasing this girl around the car. She had on like and you could drive down the street right now, Stacy, and they're out there. They're out there on the
Right.
street, just walking the streets in bikinis, okay,
Right.
in G-strings. He chased her around the car and then he head butted her. He
Oh
got her and
God.
head butted her. And then he had her by the neck. And I was
Oh,
just like, and this was happening in broad daylight, and somebody
mhm.
was filming it.
Oh, okay. See,
It was
I don't,
horrible.
I don't, I mean, I'm not, at least I don't consider myself naive. I just thought that, that stuff is now like more online or in the
No.
clubs or,
Mm-mm.
oh, okay.
Empress says I was in NYC and their hoes down on 10th Avenue.
Dr. Marilyn said, wait till these food stamps are cut in a few days. Lots of strange things for change.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
LG says he would,
prostitution is
no, go ahead.
happening. And
Yeah.
prostitution and pimping is happening, and it's
Yeah.
a younger generation.
Yeah, I have no doubt that that prostitution, of course, is happening. I don't visualize it on the streets anymore. Like you can walk down the street, like she said in New York. Well, when I was growing up, there are certain places you knew not to go because they would be all over. But I thought that maybe you don't see that on the streets
10
anymore.
a.m. in the morning, you can go to Figueroa between, I would say, El Segundo to maybe Manchester or maybe
Hmm.
Manchester Century.
Hmm.
They're all up and down the street.
Yeah. Shonda H says human trafficking is bad in any international or port city. Houston is notorious for some underground or front spa or club that traffics underage and at-risk minors. New Orleans has a street, RNG says, Chef Mentor, and the working ladies walk the strip 24/7.
They're there.
I know in Las Vegas, like if you walk on the Las Vegas Strip, they'll hand you like, because they have like legalized prostitution there, right? With the
Yeah,
thing,
they
they'll
got
hand,
now they have little whorehouses.
yeah, they'll
Okay.
hand you these cards. I'm walking there, I'm like, they hand you these cards, and it's like I don't take the cards no more because now I know what's on them. It's like whatever, like you said, a whorehouse or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the
Remember
oldest.
Lamar Odom was at the house
Right.
down the road, and that's where he OD'd in Las
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah, they had to get him out of a house of prostitution.
And personally, I think that prostitution should be legal because I think that would take a lot of the underground to it,
Mm.
right? And it takes the power away from the pimps in a sense. And so there is a large conversation. Dr. Najuma, who we had on last week, we actually should bring her back because she is an advocate for domestic violence and things like that. And one of the conversation is making prostitution legal because it takes the power away from the pimp and it gives the power away to it gives the power to the woman. Interesting conversation.
Greer says sex work should not be criminalized.
Right.
What does the chat think?
OMG says prostitution is the oldest profession.
Of course.
There's a story in the Bible. So there's this Ruth and Boaz, right? And actually Tyler Perry and Devon Franklin did a reimagined version of it, which is on Netflix right now. But the story of Ruth and Boaz, not getting into how Ruth and Naomi got to where they were, but basically Naomi told Ruth to go to Boaz and lay at his feet. And so I was like, as I got older, I was like, now what does really lay at his feet mean? She told him to go in the night and lay at Boaz's feet. Now, what is that? What is that saying to you?
Well, no, in the context, it wasn't sexual though. There was a method used, like she wanted her to have a husband.
Right.
But look at Neo's mind is turning.
It's not turning. It's just, I just think that we have these images in our mind about biblical and oh no. But come on, think about the stories of David. You know what I'm saying? You like, I don't know. David, Bathsheba. So to me, when I read it now and go back, I think that there's more than just, laying at his feet was a nice way to say,
So Dr. Marilyn says, I don't think it should be either. Let these women make their money. Okay. So she agrees that it should be legal.
That's just, and the Bible is up for interpretation. So that is just my interpretation. That's what the Spirit told me.
I don't know what Greer is saying because he said, yep, you're right. But I don't know who she's saying, yep, you're right too.
But we can move on now.
But she agrees with you, Neil. No, I wanted to hear what the chat had to say. I guess we got some thoughts on that, but just keeping it a little light, folks, before we get back into the minutia of it all.
Wait. She says, please, Shonda says, please don't take the Bible out of context. Ruth was instructed to let Boaz know she honored and respected him. If it was sexual, it would have read he went into her like King James versions. Like I say, the Bible is up for interpretation. Mike says, make them get a license and tax them for their work. I agree, Mike B.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, to keep it on the light side for a moment, so I thought we go back in the day, right? Because it makes it a little reprieve from this disaster that we're living in right now. But it wasn't just a saying back in the day, right? It was a whole experience. And The Root did a story about what black kids used to do compared to today's generation. They noted how kids were outside from sunrise to sunset, riding bikes in groups, jumping double dutch and racing down the block until somebody's mama called them home. And Saturday started with cartoons and ended with Soul Train, where black kids just enjoyed themselves. They saw themselves shine on television, and $1 could buy, now laters and a bag full of candy and stuff like that. There were cookouts. There was no Wi-Fi, no phones, just love, laughter, and community. So what about you folks? And of course, Neo, you could jump in there. What do you remember from back in the day?
From back in the day, like drinking water out of the water hose.
There you go.
Kids don't know how to do that right now.
Yeah,
They don't know how to play hide and seek, freeze tag. When you got into your teens, you played hide and go get it. Remember that one? I mean, red light, green light.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Me.
saying? And so, just, before cable, before I saw a post that said, the only the call waiting we knew was you just took I mean, not, the unavailable today, back in
Yeah,
the day
busy
was you
signal.
just take the phone off the hook, right?
Uh-huh.
Call waiting was, remember when you used to call and the phone was busy, so you would call the operator and say, I need an emergency breakthrough.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep, because it would be the busy signal. That's it. Yeah. There was dodgeball, jacks, and jump rope. Michelle Madison said, Patricia Jackson said, freeze pops made out of homemade lemonade. Having a skate key on the string around your neck, says Puma Kit. Um, and Mike V says, Mother May I? I remember that one too.
And remember, you would come home and then your mother would be like, go take a bath. You smell like outside.
Outside.
Tetherball. Yep. Tetherball was a good one.
We
Um,
played Skelly. You know what Skelly
what's
is?
that? I've never heard of that one.
Skelly is when you put the thing, you build this little thing in the street, with chalk, and you have the caps, bottle caps, and you have to get a certain amount of in certain ways.
That
uh
must be a New York
yeah,
thing.
it's a New York thing. Yeah.
Because when
Yeah.
you said the squares, I was thinking of hopscotch.
Oh, okay, that too. Handball, yep, at the basketball court, no less. You play handball. Handball is still pretty big in New York too.
Mm,
But there's a lot of stuff. You built stuff like your bikes. A lot of times you had to build your own bike,
right, yeah.
put it
And
together.
yeah, and even like with the college experience, the whole system, you would be out on the yard because there was nothing really to do in your
Hmm.
dorm room. But now you have your cell phones, you have the video games.
Yep.
And so, they say like even the college culture is different now.
Yeah.
And because the yard was your place of action. That was the activity. But now you have your computer, you have video games, you have your cell phones. Um,
Yeah.
and
Or
so
even
like, go ahead.
no, even the simple stuff like sitting on your steps. I mean, we used to
Mhm.
like the whole block would be on our steps at night in the summertime, and you'd be out there all night too. There was Jack's. They said Mike Visa's pitch. You used to toss your coins against the wall, and whoever got whoever got the closest collected the change. Claudette Perry says no more bid whisk.
Right. Just and you bring up porch. Like I have a nice porch, and my cousin came and stayed with me, and she made me appreciate my porch. She's from Joliet, Illinois, and they sit on the porch in Joliet.
Mhm. That's
And
what we used to do.
I was like, yeah, like get to know your neighbors. People don't even know their neighbors anymore.
Well, that's a big difference today than certainly when I was growing up, because there was that community. What's that village was a true village then, because not only did you get to know your neighbors, everybody was close. You fought, and then you made up immediately. And of course, there was Miss Pat down the block who kept you in check. You know,
Right.
it was all of that that the kids don't have today. Kids in general, as Greer says, the bottom line is we were outside,
Yeah. Hmm.
and that was the thing. We were outside.
And you knew your neighbors' telephone numbers.
Yep,
I know we have this like ongoing joke in the community, in the neighborhood I live in. Is like we only see each other when something bad happens. Like
mm,
we hear a
yep,
police siren or a car accident, we all come outside and it's like, "Hi, oh, I'm seven. Oh, you live there?" And it's like this is sad that we only meet each other when there's chaos on the
yep,
block.
yeah. And Greer says that she remembers the lady who told her mama she skipped school. She lived across the street. So there you go. AC Ducey and Backgammon Mike V says, yeah, it's a different world, and that today you don't want your kids out there if you have kids.
Right, right. You want, but I think it's a part of social skills too that kids
Mhm.
lack. Going outside and playing, it
Hmm.
helps you develop
Oh, without
social
question.
skills. You know what I mean? How to get over
Hmm.
things, how to
Yep.
interact with people. And so it's an element that is definitely missing. I know um, one of my neighbors I just found out was detained by ICE. I don't know if I
Oh.
mentioned that, but yeah. So there's a man and he's on the block. He always helps you with your cars. He likes to pick up trash. I was a little junky, but that's like the neighbor. He's always speaking. He knows everybody, and we hadn't seen him in a couple months. Went
Yeah.
across the street. I had never met his wife. Found he's 80 years old, has a pacemaker, diabetic, high blood pressure.
Mm.
ICE picked him up, tried to take him and deport him to Mexico. He was like, I don't know nobody in Mexico. He has all of his papers. So I got her information and I reached out to my city council member to get her some resources, to help her. But that was the first time we met.
Wow. And the other thing I'll mention too, there's a few more things in the chat, but I'll get to that. Is we didn't have nobody went to a gym. You know why? Because you were always running and playing. You had all the exercise in the world. You're talking about 10,000 steps. We do 10,000 steps within 10 minutes.
Right.
It's like, come
Walking to
on.
and from school.
Yes,
You walk to and
exactly.
from school.
That's I was in New York last week. That's every time I go to New York, I always am reminded that one of the biggest things I miss about living in the city is all of the walking you do.
Mhm.
All of the walking.
That's why I love
You're
DC.
walking or running. Yeah, yeah, you walk a lot, right? And
I love it.
there were the dance contests. Patricia Jackson says back in the day. Dr. Marilyn says that the neighbors were worse than a Ring doorbell. She says she got caught sneaking friends in. And Patricia says, no, they were the Ring doorbell.
Yeah, and remember, you would do ding dong ditch. You
Ding
would
dong
bring the
ditch.
neighbor and run. And now there have been several
Oh no, you
murders
don't
by
want to do that
white
now.
folks. You don't want to do that no more. Remember
Oh,
when you would get mischievous and you would egg cars and go and
oh
egg people's
gosh.
house? You know what I'm you know.
Greer said we have regular doorbells. Now your doorbells tell law enforcement your business.
True. Hmm.
And yes, Mike V. Finally, yeah, we do remember the penny candy. Now, once inflation hit, that went away thanks to Ronald Reagan. I was just saying just the other day. I just remember. I always remember this. Like we lived in Queens, so we would shop a lot of times on Jamaica Avenue, and um, and so we take the bus from Rockaway Boulevard, and there was a pizza shop on the corner with a Q9 bus. $1. We had money to shop, and then we had $2. $1 was for bus, soda, and pizza. Cost $1 altogether,
Hmm.
and that's the same thing coming back. Bus, you bought a pizza to get change for the bus.
Right. I remember, I mean, and everything was like community, neighborhood, the man at the local store knew who you were. You speaking
Yep.
of that, they know you. I remember one time I called myself, trying to, do something nice for my grandfather. And I went to the store, the local, neighborhood
Yep.
store, Al's Market. They know you go get $2 worth of salami, $1 worth of cheese,
Yep.
Springfield soda, get you some 15 or 15-cent pack of now laters and come home. So I went and called myself being nice to get my grandfather. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna get Poppy a pack of cigarettes. The Al sold it to me. When I got home with them cigarettes, my grandmother beeline back up to that store, like, what you doing selling my
Mm-mm-mm.
cigarettes?
Mm.
And
She
she
gonna
was
get
like, Miss
cigarettes.
Anderson, it was for Miss. She said, Mr. Anderson. She was like, you still don't sell no child no cigarettes. I don't care what she told you. But I mean, he knew Poppy smoked cigarettes, and he just was like,
Mm. Wow. Yeah, there you go. So back in the day, we're gonna do our own version of that article this week for Black Press USA. So if I see it's a talker, so check it out later this week, probably on Sunday. We're gonna do a version of that article for Black Press USA. So, folks, just in 3 days, SNAP and WIC benefits will be cut for millions. 41 million is the latest count. 41 million Americans who are about to go hungry, not because of a natural disaster, but because of a political one. For the first time in American history, a president has deliberately stopped food aid to his own people, children, seniors, working parents, veterans, all left wondering how they'll eat next week while Trump sits on $6 billion that could stop suffering right now. You got governors like Kathy Hochul, who says that she's reaching into their reserves to make sure that their New Yorkers are able to eat. But you also remember this, Niall, this is how cruel this is. Trump uh, canceled 94 million pounds of food aid, including meat, eggs, and dairy that was supposed to reach food banks nationwide. So this
Mhm.
is 100% cruelty.
Yeah, and people here in California are already getting notices about November 1st, along with a lot of other people across the country. And so, the rubber is really meeting the road right now, especially when you think about, people who are working who are not being paid, and people are having to, deliver lunches to them out of the kindness of their heart. And it's like, how long are they going to do this? How long is TSA going to continue to show up to airports without getting paid? How long
Yeah.
are air traffic controllers going to show up without getting paid? Coupled with, how are people going to, survive during this holiday season? We talked about this yesterday. The biggest holiday that is surrounded by community and food is Thanksgiving, you know? And what are folks going to do? Because by mid November, if you haven't had your SNAP benefits, at the first of the month, you're going to feel that impact.
Well, you definitely are. And that's the point of all of this, folks. Make no mistake. The cruelty is the point. The cruelty.
I think too, but beyond the cruelty, we have to look at like what's really going to happen. I saw somebody talking about, just because you have a job, just because you don't get SNAP benefits, don't think that this isn't going to impact you, because
Oh,
guess
yeah.
what? All of those individuals that are not going to get their benefits, guess what? They're not going to be able to buy groceries. So what is
Yep.
the impact of that? What is the impact of if the orders are not being placed? Think about the truckers who deliver the food, right?
Hmm.
Think about how the prices are going to skyrocket for those who do have jobs, because you're going to have 40 million people who are not contributing to the ecosystem of grocery shopping. So we're all going to feel the impact of this, whether you get SNAP benefits or not.
Exactly. And in addition to that, the human side, for those who are human, for those who have a modicum of concern for their fellow man, the human factor kicks in. Who wants to see a child going to school hungry? Who wants to see a single mother struggling already, not able to feed her kids, or having to decide, is she going to pay her rent or buy something for dinner? It's just it's horrible what they've done.
Yeah, it's horrible, and the impact of, even if you're not the mother who can't feed her child, it's still going to impact you as well.
Hmm.
And I
It's
think
gonna.
that is like the connection of the dots. Just because you're not in that particular situation, you need her to participate in, the circle of life. You need her to go grocery shopping to make sure that your grocery prices remain the same.
There
So
you go.
to not understand how, like Hezekiah Walker says, I need you to survive. I
Yep.
need Keisha to survive, because
Yeah.
then that way, when she survives, guess what? I do too.
And Dr. Marilyn is right. Trump took away bargaining rights for federal unions, and that is why the agencies aren't fighting back like the FAA did the last time the government shut down. He's totally stripped them of any power.
Yeah.
So
It's a mess. And keeping in line with what we're talking about, there are people and companies that are stepping up. One in particular, DoorDash, who's launched an emergency food response as the benefits threaten to impact 40 million people. Now, the food delivery company plans to deliver 1 million free meals through food banks and waiving fees for 300,000 SNAP recipient grocery orders. And so this is like, I need you to survive. DoorDash
mhm,
needs people to have their SNAP benefits because now you can use your EBT cards to do DoorDash, to
yeah,
do Uber Eats, to do Postmates. So see the effect?
yeah,
DoorDash is
wide
like,
range.
no, we need this. We need them to get their benefits.
Yeah.
So yeah, and in more helpful news, Jamal Bryant says this is no time to pass the offering plate. hmm So starting it started Sunday. He made this, and he started to go viral because he didn't take up an offering. So he said starting in November, New Birth Church is turning every Sunday into a food drive instead of collecting offerings. And he's asking members to bring canned goods and pantry items to help feed families affected by SNAP and the government shutdown.
Mm. Yeah, it's yeah, that's the other thing. How are people going to do regular things like that? The folks who like to, like you said, give offerings or whatever, they can't. And apparently Jamal Bryant recognizes that, is showing compassion for that. Hopefully, others will follow.
Well, while he was saying no offering,
Uh-oh. She
uh
said, well,
Bishop Winans, who we love, was
who loves
given
that? Who loves that guy?
do I love the Winans and their music, and give him a piano and a mic any day for me. But on the flip side, as Jamal Bryant on Sunday was saying, no offerings, Pastor or Bishop Winans was rejoicing because he had a bad week. Of course, we talked a little bit about it, and the woman brought up the wrong offering, and he didn't like it, and controversy broke out. And so on this past Sunday, he was rejoicing because the money was flooding in. And
Mhm.
one of the donors was Tyler Perry, who donated $100,000 to let Pastor Winan know that he supported him. So now Bishop Winan is up to 600,000 for his fundraiser.
What's
Wonder
the
how he's
fundraiser
gonna
for?
spend that money. I think it was building fund.
It's always a building. There's so many building funds. They make fun of it in movies. It don't even take comedians to make fun of it anymore. It's like,
You know what? But he was very. I mean, the church was broke out. The spirit fell upon the church, heavy. They was dancing. They was rejoicing. So it'll be interesting to see, if he reads the room, because if you
mm,
read the room and you've raked in over $500,000, and you see what your boy is doing, down south, and you are like one of the prominent, nationally and worldwide recognized people of man of God. It'll be interesting to see how he responds with all that money.
sure he a man of God or not, or the other guy doing this
No,
at this
he's a
point in
man of
time.
God. He's a man of God. And the church had, the church has some internal issues that they need to deal with.
Mm,
And the church, the black church in particular, like we started the show with Jasmine Crockett. She was talking to a room full of pastors, who understood that it's about activism, what the black church is known for. So it'll be interesting to see how the black church steps up and they meet the needs, because really during the week a lot of black churches are the hubs of their community with their feeding ministries, right? You can go in any church in any community probably on a Wednesday or Thursday, and their feeding ministry is serving their local communities. And so those institutions are going to be vital right now.
Orange, he says that whining preacher said, "Hold my beer and run me my coins."
Well, I hope he makes good and, he does the right thing for the people in Detroit. Detroit is one of the most populated Black cities in this country.
Yes,
So
it
it'll
is.
be interested to see how he handles that 600,000 in county.
Yeah.
He's
All
almost
right.
up to $1 million.
Why can't somebody run us $1 million? Come on, run us $1 million, y'all. We can we'll put it to good use. I guarantee you, the Black press will put it to good use.
Talk about amplifying Black voices.
There
You
you
get a
go.
voice. You get a voice.
You get a voice. There
Come
you
talk.
go.
Come talk. But on the serious note, as
I'm serious.
because we were thinking about our let it be known family. But as we talk about SNAP benefits, there's also job cuts that continue to happen. We talked about Target yesterday. I saw Paramount is cutting jobs, and now Amazon is getting ready to make another massive cut on its corporate workforce starting today. Now, up to 30,000 jobs are on the line. And the cut amounts to nearly 10% of its corporate workforce and marks the largest layoff in the company's history.
Wow. So 30,000 jobs at Amazon is going by the wayside, huh?
Are on the line.
Good
Starting
grief.
today. So
Wow.
people are, waking up every day and more job cuts are happening.
Yeah.
I saw a report, I think it was CBS, where they were shadowing this air traffic controller, and he was driving Uber in his spare time. So I mean, and let's put that in the context of he's an air traffic controller. In his spare time, because he's not getting paid, he's driving Uber. So when he goes to work, is he tired? Is he at his full awareness of what we need air traffic controllers to be? And this is what I mean about the ecosystem and how we take care of each other.
Right.
What if he was driving all night, then he has to go to work and he shuts his eye for half a second? That half a second could impact not just the people on the flight, but their families.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So these are things we have to think about. And final headline is, this weekend in Las Vegas, they kicked off the inaugural HBCU Classic, and the two teams that kicked it off was Grambling State University, whoop whoop, along with Jackson State. But I was there. It was, man, when I tell you, it took me back to school days. Like, just you had the orchestras going, you had the cheerleaders going, you had the band going. Then you had like the Continental Concourse. You had it was like the yard. The fellas was checking out the girls as they was walking by.
Boy.
You had Miss Grambling and Miss Jackson State walking and waving. I was like, this is a time. But the game took a traumatic silencing as the quarterback from Grambling. His name is Savavian Tissette. He was taken off the field as he was hit and became motionless on the football field. The ambulance had to come. It was the entire stadium was just silent. Both teams hit their knees. He was motionless. So Grambling released a statement saying that he is now responsive and in good spirits and continues to be evaluated by medical personnel. So it was really a moment. But Grambling did at the last minute. The game was a nail biter down to the minute, and Grambling took the win with the field goal.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on that young man. Hopefully, he's able to totally recover and get back on the field sooner than later.
But I also think too should be noted that the economic power of Black people. The way the alumni took over Las Vegas and boosted that economy, you would have thought it was Mardi Gras in New Orleans. It was, you would have thought it was, okay, because they did a pep rally on downtown Fremont. It was over 100,000 Black people. And when I tell you, it was a beautiful thing to see. So we still have our joy. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us were joking. I was like, I'm in Wakanda. We gonna forget about everything. Let's just be here. Let's enjoy each other and go back to whatever we got to go back to when it's time. But it was a beautiful thing. And I love how we continue as Black people to find our joy and to find each other.
Well, I think we'll hear more, and everybody else can hear more if they watch the RNG SWAC Sports, because he's already saying that JSU was on their third string quarterback, and that wasn't a catch. And Grambling, he's predicting will lose next week. So check him out.
We're not talking about next week. We're talking about the present, okay? We're talking about and right now. Grambling State University won the inaugural Las Vegas HBCU Classic. And you know, the debate is, will they change up the schools, right? And so a lot of the talk was Las Vegas has to keep it Grambling and Jackson. You know, the only other school that could bring that many alumni might be FAMU. But everybody is like, Las Vegas, please keep it next year, Jackson and Grambling, because it's not guaranteed they could switch it up.
So is the Classic will continue to stay in Las Vegas?
This is the Las Vegas Classic. Yeah.
Oh, it's the Las Vegas Classic. Okay.
It's the so it's new. It was the inaugural.
Okay.
And it definitely was an economic boost, which we know a couple months ago, Las Vegas did a blowout sale on hotels, restaurants, meals, because, you know, spending is down, tourism is down. And so this was definitely a boost for them. So I'm sure they'll have it back. Just the question is what HBCU schools they'll choose. And hopefully everybody was like, can we please come back? Yeah, and everybody who wasn't there is like, I'm there next year.
She says, Greer says Versus was there too.
Yeah, Versus was so funny because we were in the game and we had our phones on Versus.
Oh,
so
okay.
We were in the game and the phones was on Versus. We was watching it, and when Snoop came out, everybody went crazy in the stadium. It was touchdowns, field goals, and Versus happening all at the same. When I tell you it was a Black culture experience this past weekend in Vegas, it really was. It really was.
Oh.
Yeah, it was.
Dr. Marilyn is asking RNG to put the link in the chat. She'd like to support his channel. It is the RNG SWAC Sports. It's on YouTube. He is generally, I think you're on more than once a week now, right? It was usually Friday, especially Friday nights. That's when I catch him. It's on Friday nights, Friday Night Lights.
Hey.
There you go.
Yeah,
all right.
In the chat.
But put it in the chat, RNG, and Dr. Marilyn wants to support it, and it's a lot of fun. His sports show is absolutely educational and hilarious at the same time. So
yes. So let's go and support. And big thank you to the alumni of Las Vegas for Grambling State University and Jackson State, because they were fantastic hosts. They had, they made sure that you could call them and they would tell you where the parties were. There's a great lounge Black owned called Chocolate City. If you like a good cigar, Black owned by Grand Fam. So you can go there. I mean, just fin and feathers, everybody was trying to focus on supporting Black businesses. So shout out to the alumni of in Vegas for Jackson State as well as Grambling. Great host.
All right, folks, some Black facts for you today. On this date in 1798, Levi Coffin, who was a white man, by the way, was born in the slave state of North Carolina, but he eventually became, I should say, a strong opponent of slavery. He and his wife, Catherine, would become among the original founders of the Underground Railroad. So, he played a really big role in that, he and his wife. So Levi Coffin is one of the original allies.
Allies are good, and the Underground Railroad is alive now. Y'all, if y'all need to know, just let me know. I'll tell you where it is. No, and Orange G show is the Orange G SWAC Sports. So you can go to YouTube, put that in the search tool, and I'm sure it will pop right up. And my Black History fact takes us to the year of 1993, where Whitney Houston's soundtrack for The Bodyguard was certified diamond by RIAA, making her the first female artist to achieve this milestone. And the album went on to become the best-selling soundtrack album of all times. And if you want to know what diamond means, it's 10 million streams or sold units.
Nice. That was obviously a great album. That Bodyguard album.
It was
It really was.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
when she did the remake to I'm Every Woman.
Yep.
That was on there. And they're talking about doing a remake of The Bodyguard.
Yeah.
And they were talking about a lot of the young, like Meg Thee Stallion. I was like, I don't know about that. But who would you want to see play redo The Bodyguard?
Boy, oh boy, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
I think Idris Elba would make a good bodyguard.
Oh, I was thinking about the woman part. Idris, yeah, Idris would.
I think he would do it. He would make a good bodyguard. For the
Yeah.
woman,
Oh, Tiana. She's Greer says Tiana Taylor.
Tiana Taylor. I mean, yeah. Kelly Rowland. Mike V said Kelly Rowland. I like
Rihanna.
Kelly Rowland better than Tiana Taylor. Kelly Rowland has been getting her acting chops together, but
Yeah,
both of
she
them
has.
have. Both of them have. Kelly Rowland.
Well,
I
if you're gonna put Idris, you should put Rihanna. Didn't they have a? They did a movie
Rihanna
together?
would be good. Rihanna would be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Regina Hall.
Okay.
I think we need. Don't you think, Nancy? We need a singer. Should it be a singer?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Greer says yeah, it should be a singer.
It should be a singer. So we got Kelly Rowland, we got Tiana Taylor, we got Rihanna.
Rihanna.
Those
Yeah.
are good
Jordan-
choices.
Oh, Jordan Sparks. Says
Yeah,
Patricia
let's
Jackson.
leave her. I would leave her at Sparkle.
She said nah.
I would leave her at Sparkle.
Oh
But
wow.
we'll throw her in the loop. Jordan Sparks, Rihanna, Kelly Rowland, Tiana Taylor.
So we just left the one guy. We just left it at Idris, huh? Nobody else but
I
Idris.
think he would make, because The Bodyguard, it's The Bodyguard. I can't think of no other Bodyguard I would want.
Oh,
What is his wife called? His wife calls us sister wives. She calls us sister wives. Oh,
okay.
Brandy's on tour right now with Monica. Brandy or
Greer's with you.
Monica.
Greer's with you. She says Idris only.
Yeah, Idris, he would be perfect, okay? And he actually has a new movie out right now on Netflix. And he plays the president. I forget the name of it, but if you type Idris Elba or go to new movies on Netflix, it'll pop up. But it's about somebody launches a nuclear bomb. And the Situation Room, the president, the Secretary of Defense, think about all the people who have these positions right now. Okay. They're all on the call, and the nuclear, they catch it, they come to work in the morning, and then they have 18 minutes to either shoot it down, and the nuclear bomb is headed towards Chicago. What I found fascinating, and the whole hour and 55 minutes is about this 18 minutes and how all of these people handle it. The president, the Secretary of State, the Situation Room. All of this is going on in these 18 minutes, and we're oblivious to what's happening. We're going about our day, Stacey. We're doing the morning show. You're going to go and get a haircut. We're just going about our day, and they're in the Situation Room trying to shoot it out or figure out what happened. Or it is, they say a lot of people gave it bad reviews, but I just think the thought of it and thinking about the people that are in these positions, the Secretary of Defense or War, whatever he calls himself, Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, the president, they're all have our lives in the palm of their hands.
Couple more real quick. Patricia Jackson says the guy that played Boaz would be good, and Dr. Marilyn says Michael Ealy. Michael Ealy, I think too many people have slept on Michael Ealy. That guy
Michael
is a
Ealy
great
would be
actor.
good.
Yeah.
But you're talking about Tyler LaPlante.
Okay.
That's who you're talking about. He played Boaz. Yes, he is fine. He would make a good I would say Boaz. He made a great Boaz. Let's put it that way. So he make a great bodyguard. I'm with you, Patricia.
All right.
And the movie is House of Dynamite. Thanks, Mike V. It's called
Yes.
House of Dynamite.
All right, folks. Our Black-owned newspaper of the day is African American News and Issues down in Florida. The African American News and Issues newspaper was founded by Roy and Shirley Melanson in 1996 with a purpose to address current and historical issues that are impacting the African American community. I said Florida, it's Texas, folks. The African American News and Issues newspaper is among the largest African American newspapers in the state of Texas and one of the largest in the nation. So that's our Black-owned newspaper of the day, African American News and Issues newspaper.
All right. So we all agree Boaz is fine. Tyler, the play. Fine. So we got Idris and Tyler. Okay, I love it. This has been what makes this show great, guys, is the interaction. So thank you so much for the interaction.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to interact with blackpressusa.com. Go click, go read, go share, go subscribe, because we are bringing you the voice of the Black community across these United States. So that's blackpressusa.com.
And join us again tomorrow for a hump day version of Let It Be Known. We'll see you then.